Hi, I'm Dr. Stephen Stokes. The body doesn't have an immune system as much as it is an immune system. The liver, the spleen, the stomach, the colon, all these things work together to signal the brain to elicit a immune response. So it's impossible to talk about the immune system without really talking about the entire body. Time and time again, in treating patients, no matter what's wrong with the patient, I find that a place to start is the immune system. And in many cases, if we take care of the immune system, we get rid of a lot of the problems that the patient presents with. You have to think that the immune system handles many things, such as inflammation levels, and most all diseases that we deal with, especially diseases of a chronic nature, have a very strong inflammatory base. So the immune system is definitely the place where I like to start with patients, regardless of what's wrong with them. And I just want to get that immune system working properly. Um, Immediately what comes to mind is one very specific product that I use on almost all my patients. And this has been around for a very long time. Native American Indians actually discovered it. They would notice that elk that were injured or sick in a field would seek out a very specific plant to eat in order to get better. So the Native Americans called this elk root, and later we call it Echinacea. Now, when I first started in practice, I never really used Echinacea very much because it, quite frankly, just didn't work. And I used it, and patients never responded, and I just thought it was kind of junk. But the more I researched Echinacea, the more I realized that the reason why I never got that response was because the product I was using never had enough of the active ingredient. Again, the Native Americans knew this, and they would test elk root for potency by chewing the stems and the roots. And if it made their mouth and their throat tingle, they knew they had a strong product there. Well, all the Echinacea products that I've ever used on patients, nobody ever told me that their mouth or their throat tingled, so I can assume it never had enough potency. And sure enough, as I researched it, I found that within Echinacea there was something called alkamides. And alkamides were the active element of the Echinacea plant that caused the system to balance. See, what's really important about Echinacea is that it's not an immune enhancer. It doesn't just jack up your immune system. It balances the system. So in some cases, it raises the intensity of the immune response, and in some cases, it lowers it. It actually balances out that immune response, which is so important. And these alkamides are really the essential part of that whole process working. So once I started using Echinacea with the proper potency, the results became much better. I will typically use a liquid format. So I'll use Echinacea that's been processed in a slight alcohol base as a tonic, and that way you can maintain the potency of these alkamides and get the results that you want. I like to use a 1:2 ratio within the Echinacea plant. I will use typically 5 milliliters a day, 7 days a week on a patient. You don't want to exceed about 40 milliliters in a week to get any results, and you don't want to go below about 20 milliliters a week to get results. So that between the 20 to 40 milliliters of medicine is where you want to be to get that. Any type of autoimmune disease, Crohn's disease, colitis, any type of herpes type of lesion or anything like that, acne, eczema, psoriasis, especially skin conditions, all respond really well to Echinacea. As I said, it also has some anti-inflammatory properties, so basically anybody in pain is going to benefit from using Echinacea. I personally use a product made by a company called MetaHerb. MetaHerb originate in Australia, but MetaHerb can be purchased through standard process here in the United States. And MetaHerb makes a Echinacea product that has very high potency of alkamides. Your tongue definitely tingles, your throat tingles for about 10 minutes after you take it. You know it's working. And they have done some really good research on their product to show that it does in fact balance the immune system. So I'd really recommend that you investigate MetaHerb as a source for Echinacea. A doctor can build an entire practice, a very successful practice, on just that one product alone, because it treats such a broad range of different conditions and diseases. So again, Echinacea is certainly a go-to product to consider if you're suffering from any type of immune-based condition. And to be honest with you, like we discussed, most conditions have at least some basis in the immune system. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, be sure to just write it on the space below. I answer everything. And best of health.